Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. There's been a fresh storm brewing behind the scenes at the Miami Dolphins, and it's starting to sound more like a full-blown crisis than just locker room tension. Rumors have started to swirl around Jalen Waddle, the star wide receiver for the Dolphins, who allegedly has publicly revealed that he no longer wants to play alongside TYREEK Hill. Yes, you heard that right. Waddle, who's been a key figure in Miami's offense, apparently expressed that his relationship with Hill has deteriorated to the point where he'd rather not share the field with him anymore. This is huge because both players are seen as offensive weapons capable of taking the team to new heights. What makes this gossip even juicier is the claim that TYREEK Hill is actually despised within the Dolphins locker room. If true, this casts a completely new light on the team dynamic, suggesting the famed offense might be harboring some serious internal strife that fans and analysts have yet to fully uncover. It begs the question how much of this is true and how much is just locker room chatter. The Dolphins have been under the spotlight recently, and this revelation could explain some of the inconsistencies in their performance or the seeming lack of chemistry between their star players. It's worth digging deeper into what this could mean for Miami's chances moving forward and whether this drama will spill onto the field. The idea that TYREEK Hill might be disliked by his teammates adds a new dimension to Miami's locker room atmosphere, one that fans rarely get to see. Usually teams thrive when their star players are united, but if Waddle's comments are to be believed, the opposite might be happening in Miami. Hill's reputation as a prolific and electrifying wide receiver precedes him, but it seems that on a personal level, his presence might be causing friction rather than fostering teamwork. What's interesting is that Waddle didn't just hint at a rough patch. He's outright said he no longer wants to play with Hill, which suggests deep-seated issues rather than a temporary fallout. This raises questions about leadership in the locker room and how the coaching staff is managing these tensions. The Dolphins have been trying to build a championship-caliber team, but internal conflict between top players could derail their ambitions. This scenario fits a classic sports narrative where talent alone isn't enough, and chemistry plays a critical role in success. If these rumors are true, it would explain why the Dolphins haven't been as dominant as expected, despite having two top-tier receivers. Fans, commentators, and analysts will now be watching closely to see if the team can mend fences or if this feud will grow into something more disruptive. If Jalen Waddle's revelation about TYREEK Hill is accurate, it could signal a turning point for the Miami Dolphins franchise. Waddle, who's generally seen as a team-first player and someone who is charismatic and approachable, making such a statement hints that the issues run deeper than just a couple of egos clashing. The rumor that Hill is disliked by many in the locker room suggests he might be seen as a divisive figure, possibly due to his personality, work ethic, or some behind-the-scenes conflicts that have not yet come to light publicly. The media loves a good controversy, and this one could dominate headlines as more insiders potentially come forward. From a strategic perspective, this discord could disrupt the offense's rhythm. Imagine trying to build plays and chemistry between receivers who may not be on speaking terms off the field. This could force the coaching staff to reconsider their game plan or personnel usage, which could ultimately impact Miami's chances of success this season. The possibility of such a breakdown in player relationships is a reminder that sports teams are not just machines of athleticism, but fragile ecosystems where interpersonal dynamics can make or break a season. The Dolphins front office might now be faced with a tough decision, whether to try and fix the fractures internally or to consider trading a player to restore peace. This emerging storyline around Waddle and Hill is already generating a lot of buzz among NFL insiders and fans alike. Some speculate that the conflict stems from competition for the spotlight and targets in the offense, which could breed resentment. Others think it might be related to leadership styles or personal clashes off the field that have spilled over into the locker room. Given that both players are vital for the Dolphins' offensive success, this is a dilemma the coaching staff cannot afford to ignore. The rumor that Hill is disliked also contrasts with the public image of the team, which tries to project unity and focus. Yet we know that teams often mask internal strife from the media and fans. This kind of tension, if real, can lead to divided locker rooms and affect team morale significantly. The question now is how much influence Waddle's remarks will have on the rest of the squad and whether other players will come out to support or oppose these claims. The Dolphins fans are undoubtedly anxious about how this drama could impact their team's future, especially with playoff aspirations on the line. This situation might become one of the biggest storylines of the NFL season if it continues to escalate. Behind the scenes, sources suggest that the Dolphins management is aware of the tension between Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but had hoped to keep it under wraps until it could be resolved. The sudden leak of Waddle's discontent throws a wrench into those plans and puts the front office in a delicate position. Handling star players' conflicts is one of the toughest challenges for any franchise, especially when both individuals are key contributors. The leadership in Miami now faces a balancing act, trying to maintain team cohesion while managing the egos and expectations of their top talent. Reports also hint that some teammates are reportedly taking sides further, polarizing the locker room environment. Such division can undermine trust and the collective spirit necessary for winning football. Coaches may try to mediate through team meetings, counseling, or even reassigning roles to lessen friction, but success is far from guaranteed. This turmoil raises concerns about the Dolphins' ability to keep their roster intact moving forward. Trades or other personnel moves could become inevitable if the situation worsens. The ripple effects of this rumor could extend beyond just the two players involved, affecting the entire organization's reputation and strategy. Adding fuel to the fire, some insiders speculate that the tension between Waddle and Hill could be linked to differing personalities and leadership approaches. Tyreek Hill is known for his confident and sometimes brash demeanor, which might not sit well with everyone. On the other hand, Waddle is often viewed as more approachable and team-oriented. This contrast could have created a clash in how they interact, with teammates and coaches potentially leading to factions within the team. Such personality conflicts are not uncommon in sports, but when they involve star players, the stakes are higher. The rumor that Hill is disliked implies that his impact might extend beyond his on-field performance, affecting locker room dynamics. This would be a significant factor for Miami's coaching staff to consider when designing strategies or managing minutes during games. If players are divided, it's hard to maintain focus and maximize collective potential. This possibility could explain some of Miami's struggles despite having impressive offensive weapons. The Dolphins might need to prioritize rebuilding trust and cohesion to avoid this issue becoming a long-term obstacle. The wider NFL community is now watching the Dolphins closely as this rumor spreads. Analysts and commentators are debating whether this is just the typical locker room drama that eventually gets resolved, or if it signals a more serious problem that could derail Miami's season. The narrative that a player of Tyreek Hill's caliber could be disliked internally is surprising to many given his previous successes with the Chiefs. It raises questions about whether the transition to Miami has been smoother than it seems publicly. Some suggest that the pressure of expectations and adjustments to new teammates might have exposed underlying issues. The speculation also highlights how fragile team chemistry can be in professional sports, where personal and professional lives intertwine under intense scrutiny. If the Dolphins cannot resolve these tensions quickly, it might lead to a decline in performance and morale. The NFL world is eager to see if Miami's management and coaching staff can turn this story around, or if the rumor will evolve into a defining saga for the franchise. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know. In the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? The ripple effect of this conflict could extend beyond just the Dolphins' offense and influence the entire organizational culture. When star players are at odds, it can create an atmosphere of uncertainty and distraction that trickles down to other players and staff. This might impact training game preparation and overall morale. The pressure to win is immense in Miami, and any hint of discord could be amplified in the media and among fans. The rumor that Hill is disliked could also affect his market value and future in the NFL if teams perceive him as a potential locker room problem. Similarly, Waddle's position as a respected leader might gain weight if he's seen as the player trying to maintain unity. The front office might be forced to take sides or act decisively to prevent further fallout. This drama could result in trades benchings or even coaching changes if the team's performance suffers. The Dolphins find themselves at a crossroads, where managing internal relations is just as important as winning games on the field. The consequences of mishandling this situation could be felt for years to come. Social media has already exploded with fans reacting to the rumors about Waddle, and Hill with opinions ranging from shock to skepticism. Some fans defend Hill, saying that his contributions on the field speak for themselves, and that locker room drama is overblown. Others sympathize with Waddle, hoping he can keep the team united and worried about the impact of this feud on Miami's playoff hopes. The viral nature of these rumors means that the pressure on the players and coaches will only intensify. Players might feel compelled to respond publicly or privately, which could either ease tensions or fan the flames further. The narrative also highlights how modern athletes must navigate both performance and public perception in an era of instant communication and scrutiny. This rumor might influence contract negotiations, endorsements, and team morale in subtle ways. The Dolphins therefore face the challenge of managing not just internal dynamics, but also the external narrative that shapes public opinion. The next few weeks will be critical in determining whether this situation escalates or is resolved discreetly. In light of these rumors, the Dolphins coaching staff might be forced to rethink their offensive schemes and player rotations. If Waddle refuses to play alongside Hill, or if their chemistry is damaged, adjustments will be necessary to maximize the team's effectiveness. This could involve giving more targets to other receivers or changing formations to separate the two stars on the field. However, such tactical shifts come with risks and may disrupt the rhythm the team has built. The potential fallout also puts pressure on quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who relies heavily on both Waddle and Hill to make plays. Balancing these dynamics while maintaining peak performance is a complex task for any coach. The rumor about Waddle and Hill has created a scenario where managing egos and relationships might be as important as physical preparation. This is a reminder that football is not just about talent, but about teamwork and harmony. How the Dolphins respond to this internal crisis could define their season and even shape their identity as a franchise going forward. Ultimately, this rumored fallout between Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill represents a fascinating and potentially explosive chapter in Miami Dolphins history. Whether the team can navigate this storm successfully remains to be seen, but the implications are significant. Star players who can't coexist or work together threaten to unravel even the most talented teams. For Dolphins fans, the hope is that this is just a rough patch that will be smoothed over with communication and leadership. For others, it might be a sign of deeper issues that require bold moves by the front office. The NFL is no stranger to locker room drama, but when it involves high-profile players like Waddle and Hill, it inevitably draws more attention and scrutiny. The coming weeks will be crucial in seeing if Miami can transform this potential conflict into a source of growth or if it will spiral into something more damaging. One thing is certain, the Dolphins' locker room dynamics just became one of the most talked about stories in football. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.